Welcome to the Florida Trail Runners Podcast. Out in the woods, out in the swamps, down by the Willie Coochie. It started with a podcast. Now it's
All right, here we are with episode 118 of the Florida Trail Runners Podcast. And we are back on the trail with some stories from the Coo-wah-Chobee 50K. This is a race put on by RunFluent out at the Carlton Preserve near Venice, Florida. And on the chat, we've got your first place overall winner in the 50K, Sean Pamer, which, by the way, this was also his first 50K. And we've also got Jeff Torres and Kyle Slone on the chat as we talk about how the race went down. You know, from training, planning, what the course was like out there, because I know for a lot of us, this is more of a new one, and all of that good stuff in between. So Coo-wah-Chobee, let's just jump right into it.
headed to the Keys, Lake to Ocean, Miami, out to the East Coast, Daytona, Jacksonville, Pioneer Trail, on a single trail, running 1 to 100 miles, aid station, aid station.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
That's good to hear.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Cool, perfect.
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
It's amazing what technology can do these days, especially a podcast on the, just straight off a phone. It's nuts.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's like, I know we've had some time since the 50K, but how are y'all feeling from it?
I'm pretty recovered. I was back at it the next day. My knee, I've noticed some, my knees never ran that far, so they felt it. And my left ankle got swollen. I sprained it just from, I'm guessing, the constant motion. But I ran past it, I kept going, and it's fine now. I don't know, maybe I should have waited and let it heal, but I just have a hard time stopping, I guess.
No, I'm feeling good. I was using it as a training run for an upcoming race, so I just kind of took it nice and easy, and my main goal was just wanting to feel good, and so yeah, I'm feeling good. I went out, I got some night running on the Florida Trail this weekend, so that was nice.
I was already training on Tuesday, I guess the couple days after the 50K, and so I'm training for Georgia Death Race next month. So it was a B race for me, but I'll tell you, it was a fun 50K, very fun 50K.
That was everyone's first, wasn't it? Or no?
No, I've done a bunch of 50Ks in the past, but I think I saw like a couple first timers or something.
Yeah, it was my first.
Oh, hell yeah. Nice.
Nice, man.
Yeah, because I think
Thank you.
the 50K, all the top three, they were all first timers.
They were
Oh,
flying. Holy shit, man. I mean, they look like kids, I'm feeling old as hell at like 42, but they look like they were like in their 20s or something.
Yeah, no, I was the one who got, I guess I finished first, but I mean, I was just feeling good, set a pace, got my heart rate going, and everything was, I mean, my legs were keeping up with my mind. They weren't giving out, and I mean, it was great.
Yeah,
I think I saw it. Yeah, I think you passed me. I think you may have passed me around the half marathon markers. Yeah, you were cruising.
It was weird because there was a lot of people ahead of me, and I don't know if that's because it was the 25K too. And when we got on the trails the first 10 miles, because that was more of a woody single lane trail, I was like, man, there's got to be people in front of me, like there has to be. And but I wasn't running into anyone. And then as soon as I got to the first aid station, they were like, you're the first guy here. I'm like, oh really? And
Nice.
yeah, from there I was like, are you sure? Because like I could have sworn like there was broken trail, because it was raining. There was the sand was wet, so you can see footsteps. But he's like, no one's been here. I was like, oh, okay. Well, let's keep up this pace and keep moving then.
You good?
Yeah, and obviously, we should probably break into some introductions. Who y'all are, and what's that running journey? What's that running background for y'all?
I guess I can start. So I'm Kyle. I got started running seriously probably, maybe 3.5 years ago. I kind of, I was living here in Florida. I moved up to Maryland for work, and I didn't know a lot of people up there, and I kind of got in with a running group, and in Frederick, Maryland, they have a great trail system. So, a ton of people run trails up there, and I just kind of naturally got into it. I kind of took the typical route, started with like a half marathon, and then I was doing 50Ks and 50 milers. But yeah, that's kind of just how I got into running. And, I've been here since April. So I lived in Florida for 6 years prior to moving to Maryland, but I wasn't running ultras at that time. I had actually ruptured my Achilles probably 5 years back, and I kind of got into running after that, coincidentally. And then, I know you probably know her, Loanvo. I'm working with her right now. So yeah, so it's good, and just getting to know people, getting to know the trails, and kept it going down here in Florida, or getting used to it and going from there.
I started, I started running in 2021. I moved down here into Florida during the height of the pandemic in 2020. And during the pandemic, I put on probably 45 pounds. So I was big into weight training, and I had to cut all that weight. So I was like, you know what? Let me just start running. So I seen how far I could run in 45 minutes, and it was like 4.5 miles. And that's how it all started. And now I'm here, and it's grown. I mean, I follow all the, the social guys that run the marathons and stuff and ultras. And I was like, why not just give it a shot? It looks fun. I like being on the trails. I like being outside, and it's worked out well. It really has.
Yeah, it's funny how like the YouTube videos and Instagram reels, they make it look pretty good out there.
They do. I mean, it's great storytelling. If you watch like the King of Moab and like Max Joliffe, and I mean they make it look easy, obviously. You're like, oh yeah, I bet I could do that. I mean, it's not that easy, but it just looks enjoyable. It's like, well, they're outside, they're doing what they like, they're bettering their health, they're bettering themselves. I mean, to an extent, I guess once you're going so far, you're kind of, you might be doing a little damage, but I mean, it's just part of the sport, really. I really have just you asked me 10 years ago if I was going to be running, 20, 30 miles. I would have been like, yeah, no. There's something about just being outside. You get in a headspace and you're just focusing on what you're doing, and you just kind of get lost in it. You forget you're running, and by the time you're done, you feel great.
Hell yeah. I'm Jeff Torres. I've been running for, like damn near 8 years now. Couldn't run a quarter mile to save my life until there was the fated day in November 2017 where I decided to do an obstacle course race called Savage Race, which, I can run. I can do obstacles, but did I have a blast? Hell yeah, I did. And it turns out, tried out a 5K, and I was like, okay, 5K turned into a 10K, then to a half, then to a full marathon, then to a 50K, then to a 50 miler at Forgotten, Florida, and then to a 100 mile no business 100 attempt. Unfortunately, I DNF'd at mile 81, but running has changed my life physically and mentally for the better. It's been a great journey, and met a lot of wonderful people along the way too.
Yeah, I just want to point out that, your first 50K out at the Hog Waller was 8:35:09, and you went 6:04:56 at Coo-wah-Chobee.
Ah, yep, Hog Waller. I remember that one. That was a good one.
That's quite the improvement. 2 hours.
I've been at it for a long time, and why not just keep chipping away at it,
Yeah, exactly.
And you've been getting slender too.
It's this little thing called nutrition that I've dialed in. Because, man, let me tell you, I'd say about 3 or 4 years ago, if you threw a lasagna right in front of me, oh, yeah, that thing's going to be gone and then some. Because I used to have that mentality of, yep, I'll just eat whatever I want and just run it all off. And unfortunately, it wasn't all it was cracked up to be, because, I loved food, but unfortunately, the fatty foods that I used to love eating worked against me long time. So unfortunately, that means very boring egg whites, berries, but at the same time, like, I feel good. eating better, versus, eating mass portions of fatty foods and just feeling like crap,
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm kind of on that opposite end of the spectrum right now with all the moves and just life events. Since I attempted Old Dominion a year and a half ago, which is 100 in Virginia, and I DNF'd that. I missed the cutoff time at mile 75. Yeah, it was a lofty goal for a first 100. It's got a 28-hour cutoff, but I learned so many lessons from that, like what not to do during my next races. But the nutrition aspect, I've kind of fallen off a little bit since then. And down here in Florida, I'm on the public apple turnover train, so I got to get off of that.
Ooh,
Get off
that's
of
hard
that
to
quick.
resist too.
Oh
I
man.
know, man.
Yeah, I could eat the wraps all day. Well, I do actually.
God, you throw like a Publix chicken tender sub with honey mustard in front of me. Oh,
Oh,
that's
man.
that's a guilty pleasure for me.
Yeah,
Oh
on the
no,
bacon ranch.
the
Ooh,
best
the
sub
good
from
stuff.
Publix was the Greek sub. It's not on their main menu anymore, but it's still in their flip book. So if you ask for it and tell them it's in the flip book, oh, that's my favorite sub.
Well, it
What's
sounds
it called?
good.
It's their Greek sub.
The Greek sub?
They
Okay.
used to have it
Okay.
like years ago on the actual menu, but now I guess it wasn't popular, or maybe they always have to break open fresh ingredients every single time when I order it.
It's a secret menu.
I think it's the secret, and I mean they know how to make. I mean, Publix knows how to make good subs.
Yeah, I think they're in the top 10 of the country of their chicken tender subs. I mean,
For a
don't
reason,
quote
because
me
man,
on
it is so good.
that. They are. Yeah, I'm pretty boring with my diet. I mean, I take a lot of supplements. I mean, your hydration sticks, creatine, and
Yeah.
whatever else there is. I mean, I take pre-workout, not before running. I still weight train just because, for our legs, we put them under a lot of stress.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, it's like ground turkey and rice with a little salsa in it and hot sauce. And I mean, maybe I'll throw it in a tortilla, but usually it's just in a bowl. And like we were saying earlier, if we could have robots cook for us, I would happily buy that robot because like I'm like quick and easy, just put food in my belly and make it kind of healthy,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I did my big push to drop weight, it was like 13 weeks, just over 50 pounds. It was a lot of rice, sweet potato, and I think I was eating maybe 2 to 3 pounds of spinach a week.
You lost, what you said, 50 pounds in 13 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're gonna have to talk separately
lot.
after this. Yeah.
Yeah, what kind of miles were in those weeks? Were you putting the miles in too?
I was doing swimming, lifting, and running all because I guess the goal was really to burn about 2,000 calories a day, but intake around 800 calories. But I had to make sure
Wow.
I was still getting enough fat, carbs, and protein to not lose muscle mass.
Wow.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that is the tough thing of counting carbs or counting calories. I mean, it's like a science behind it, especially
Yeah,
when you're
that's probably the one thing. It is like to lose weight is calories in, calories out, but also making sure you're getting enough macros and micros so you don't crash and burn for the longevity of the weight loss.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing to do because you're putting in so many miles, so many X amount of time, X amount of hours of whatever. And at the same time, watching every little thing you eat, it's a lot.
You guys have go-to supplements?
For during races and training, I typically stick with Tailwind. Lately, I've been kind of using the precision hydration gels. I kind of like that 90-gram carb pouch. It's just easy to kind of sip on and they don't mess with my stomach. But I do kind of want to get away from using gels and kind of get to more whole foods throughout the whole time. I just kind of logistically just, have to figure it out because, it's easy to kind of sip on a gel, throughout the hour and, get calories from your Tailwind and you get your electrolytes there. So I don't know. I'm kind of always tinkering with stuff. I think I'll have it figured out and see something and switch it up. So it's kind of a always ever-changing, evolving process.
I've done many supplements in the past. The Tailwinds, the Goo-Roctane series, the Goo gels, and some of them have their perks and drawbacks. And I've lately been on the Simply Good supplement train. ever since last year, trying out their glyco fuel, which was a game changer. It was nice to not have to fiddle with gel packets and just get carbs from mixing it comes in a powder and you just mix it in water and there you go, you're good to go. So I used to alternate between Simply Good and the Goo-wah-Chobee series electrolyte mix. But this race I just did only anything Simply Good. That's all I did, and it worked like a charm. And it's been my go-to ever since.
I use, what is it, Element for hydration sticks, and then BPN products as far as complex and carb complex. And I think, yeah, and Ketone IQ. I used Ketone IQ on that race, and that seemed to do really well. I will say I'm a fan of caffeine. I do really well with caffeine.
Yeah, I've been liking doing, well, this is really more before like a speed workout, but like 2 hours before I'll do some bicarb, and then before I run, I'll use that precision, that the carb in that giant packet. I'll use that
Yeah.
precision stuff. I like that stuff's good.
It's really good, and I found it doesn't really mess with my stomach. Just having that pouch, it's so easy to use and carry in a belt or your pack.
Yeah, I've pretty much figured a good squeeze into the mouth is about all I need.
Yeah, that's what I'll do that, and just kind of every 10, 15 minutes or so, take just a tiny sip and keep going.
What do you guys eat before you go for the 50K?
I've kind of just lately been on, I'll have a couple hard-boiled eggs and some oatmeal and a little bit of fruit kind of before my longer efforts. For early morning races, I've kind of found, my stomach isn't always settled. So I kind of just try to keep it really plain and simple until, my stomach kind of gets settled in or I'll have some issues early on.
That's something I was really worried about. I was like, man, just please be okay for 30 miles.
Mhm. I think everybody's got their thing. For me, I usually just have like a bowl of jasmine rice with a little bit of butter, and that's about it. Just keep it simple.
Nice. I went for spaghetti. I was like, probably not the best, but yeah, big old thing of spaghetti. And luckily, I mean, my stomach held up through it. But I'm definitely the rookie here. That was my first 50K. You guys have ran multiple. I mean, sounds like you went for the 100 and 50 milers. I'm hoping to get to that point. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. If you could do a 50K, you can do a 50 miler and a 100 miler. No problem.
See, I do feel the 50 miler. I mean, maybe with a little more training, obviously, but man, I did at the end. I was like, I feel like I could still keep going, but I was happy to stop at the same time.
Yeah.
But a 100 miler, that is the ultimate goal. Like,
Yeah, and there's plenty of good races out there, but I will say that the Coo-wah-Chobee 50K was a nice hidden gem, in Venice, Florida, and it's very cool to support, small race directors too, I found the course very enjoyable.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, because obviously we've brought up Old Dominion, No Business, and it's like for Coo-wah-Chobee, this is the second year of the race. Like, how did y'all even hear about it? Like, what made you decide, like, yeah, I'm gonna put that one on the calendar?
So I actually heard about it from my coach when I was kind of asking her about some races around here in Florida, but it worked out. I was talking to the race directors, and I guess his name's Chris, correct? I don't want to get it wrong. Yeah, he's from Chillicothe, Ohio, and I was actually born and raised in Washington Courthouse, Ohio, which are two very small towns that are probably only like 20 miles from each other. And I saw that he still puts on some races back in the area, so I thought that was a cool coincidence.
for me, it was just really close. I live in Cape Coral, Florida, so I'm a little south of Venice, and it seems like every race close to me is pretty far. I mean, 2, 3 hours out. So I seen Venice and I was like, that's close to home. I seen it on Ultra sign up and I was like, well, that's close to home and why not give it a shot? I mean, there was no races during that weekend that I had seen that I was ready for. 50K seemed perfect because I hadn't even ran a full marathon yet. I think the furthest I had ran was a 25K, but I was willing to see if I had it in me, and it was close to home, and that's kind of what brought me towards it.
I've been doing RunFluent races for a little bit ever since Chris and Evie started their inaugural events. I think it was about a few years ago when they did the 5K and the 10K in Lutz, Florida, and loved it. Thought it was family friendly. Just lighthearted fun. And then came the Coo-wah-Chobee 50K, which I was like, well, I mean, I've done Forgotten Florida before. So I was like, hey, I'll give Coo-wah-Chobee a shot and support them. And pleasantly surprised how nice of a course it was. And so, yeah, it's the RunFluent race series for sure is definitely a nice series to try out, especially their Ohio races as well.
Yeah, because this one's at the Carlton Preserve near Venice. You know, I mean, Sean, you're close enough, but have any of y'all been out there before?
I actually went out the weekend before and did a 20-miler. I didn't have the course GPX though, so I didn't do the whole route, but I did portions of it. So, and the weekend that I was out there, I actually got some wind and rain. So, I know you guys that finished way early, you know, like 5 hours, you might not gotten some of the bad weather, but you know, I was out there for a while, so I got some rain and wind on me, but yeah, the course is beautiful. And there's hardly anybody out there. I don't think that many people know about the preserve.
I had no clue that it even existed until I pulled up and I was like, whoa, this is kind of nice.
Yeah, I'd never been out there either, but it was beautiful out there, to say the least.
Yeah, because I mean, even I'm kind of in the same boat. I've kind of heard of it, but not too much. But how much research did you actually do beforehand? Like, did y'all know like what the terrain was going to be like? If it was going to be single track, that good footing, exposure, or anything like that?
When I had went out there, I didn't get on a lot of the single track. So when I went out there, I was kind of in the tall grass and sandy areas that I think like the second portion of the race was on. So it was kind of a nice surprise for me to see. I don't think just driving by the area or thinking of Venice, you would think they had that many single track going through there. So that was kind of a nice surprise for me.
I was just gonna, I can't say I did any really research or anything. All I really did was I looked at the elevation and I seen that it was like 45 feet, and I was like, okay, that's flat and fast, so it should be not easy, but it should be, you know, not so hard on the legs as far as elevation gain and stuff. And that was about it as far as research.
I just did zero research, and I was just like, all right, let me just show up and see what the hell happens. If I get lost, well, shit happens, I guess.
Yeah, they did have it marked pretty well though. There was a few spots that I was a little worried about. I was like, I haven't seen any flags. It's been a little while, but then you see a blue flag and you're like, oh, thank you. Thank you.
If you had the GPX file, I mean, it was perfect. You knew exactly where to go, and the directions synced up and everything. But it was, I mean, even by itself, it was well marked.
So wait, is there a way, because it was my first ultra. I mean, is there a way to sync up the map as you're running it? Or
So if you have a GPS watch, like a Garmin or a Suunto, he sent out the GPX file of the course, and there's directions and stuff on how to take that GPX file and put it into your watch, and then that way you could see that you're supposed to go in this direction, turn this way, and everything. So think of it as like a extra security blanket, just in case.
okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I gotta say I'm way behind. I'm still on an Apple Watch, so I need to step
Old
it up.
school.
Yeah, I gotta step it up. I was actually, I mean, I wasn't disappointed, but I kind of was, because my watch didn't even record a full 50K. It recorded like 30.9, or yeah, 30.9. I mean, numbers don't really matter, but I wanted it to hit on my Strava, that, you know, my first recorded 50K. But thankfully, Strava has a way to back it up, and they have their own GPS, and it fixed itself. But yeah, from that point on, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to step it up on the watch game.
Yeah, and that just comes down to like satellites and all that stuff. That's why like if you're using your phone like Map My Run or a lot of those apps, the Apple Watch, sometimes it'll give you more mileage, sometimes they'll give you less. But whereas if you're wearing a Garmin, there's a lot more satellites to pick up your signal.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some research. I mean, because it just seems to be like so many products out there now. I mean, even with Garmin, it's like you got 10 different series or models of Garmin. I'm like, shoot, I don't know which one I need.
ChatGPT will be your best friend to help you with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. But I think a lot of people, so the first 10 miles of that track were definitely my favorite because you were just secluded in the woods and it was all single track. And man, when you're just surrounded by woods, like you just feel like you're moving faster because everything around you is you're breezing by it. That was definitely my favorite part about it. But they were saying, with all the winding curves and everything, that the watch, it'll sometimes mess up the distance, but I blame it all on the Apple Watch. I'm not nothing bad against Apple, but there's better products out there for ultras.
Yeah, and
I mean, Apple Watch does the job.
No, it did. It did. Yeah, it did. I'm happy with it. It definitely recorded everything still.
Yeah, and that's a good point with the beginning miles. I mean, we'll break down the course a little bit later, but it looked like from the race photos, the Strava, from what I saw on Strava, it looked like the course was a good mix of like that mountain bike type of trail, some kind of power line, or maybe a horse trail. What were the trails actually? What was it like out there?
Yeah, it's kind of how you broke it down. The first 10 miles or the first half or so was a lot of the single track mountain bike tracks. And then it kind of, I think after that, there was a 2 or 3 mile section that was kind of power line gravel road. And then it changed into kind of like wide open, grassy, some sand area type terrain. So it was a nice mix of a little bit of everything.
Yeah, the power line road, right after you got out of the woods and hit the power line road, it was like daunting. You could see it in my pace where, you just got 2.5 miles of road right in front of you. That straight line is just like, okay, this is it. Like we're just going straight. And it was, you're getting off trail, you're more on gravel. So my legs definitely started feeling it at that point a little bit more. But once you got off that 2.5 point back into the prairie, I mean, yeah, it was great. I mean, because I liked the fact too that it wasn't so, I guess, tamed. You're still running in grass that's almost over your ankles. So you have to really just be aware of where you're stepping, make sure you're not hitting any divots or I mean, I've seen plenty of wildlife out there too. A few deer. I'm pretty sure it was a turkey.
Yeah, I
I thought
saw
I
a lot
saw a
of
boar
deer.
out there.
Yeah, the deer were cool. I saw a buck and it was just galloping, running away, and I was like, man, I'm out here with nature doing the same thing. I mean, I'm not running away, but I'm trying to run to the finish line. It's definitely I find I don't know I find definitely some clarity in that. It's like gives you a little more energy once you see that you're doing, I guess you're just being a part of nature, what we're supposed to be doing.
Oh yeah. It was nice to be off the grid for a little bit as you're just running through the trails and the open road. Yeah, because it's kind of like being because I live in Sanford where it's like a lot of homes, a lot of buildings, a lot of cars, stuff going on. But it was nice just to be out there and just be in nature. And it's kind of in a way it was whisper quiet.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I I did catch a little rain. The first 10 miles, it was sprinkling pretty good, and you can just hear, a little bit of rain coming through the trees and everything. But then, yeah, once you got out in that prairie, it was just you and your thoughts and, one foot ahead of the other. And I mean, that's what I like is just, I mean, you're just focused on what you're doing at the time and you're just trying to get to the finish line and see what you have inside of you. Can you run the whole thing or are you gonna have to stop and walk or yeah, it was great out there.
Yeah, that's kind of a good point too. A lot of y'all, you didn't really know much about what the course was going to be like, but the 50K was a single loop course that was on the race description. Is that something that you planned for, or maybe is that something that you wanted compared to like a looped course?
Yeah, was kind of drawn to the 50K for that reason as well. I wasn't aware that in Venice, Florida, we would get a single loop 50K and not have to repeat any sections of it. So I really enjoyed that. During training runs or even some races where it's 4 or 5 mile trail loops, I tend to get a little tired of it. So I appreciated the single loop factor.
It was really cool to have it as a single loop. I'm very used to looped ultras, but this one was nice. You just bring your hydration pack and whatever with you, and so yeah, you're not seeing the same thing over and over again, versus a looped course. So it was nice to just be out there, and the aid stations were spaced out pretty well too. So there was plenty to eat and plenty to look at too, especially since it was not repeated.
Yeah, I liked that it was a full circle and you're not, seeing anything that you had already seen. And the fact that it's like, all right, well, I made it 15 miles out. I guess it's 15 miles back or 16. And yeah, the aid stations were perfect. I mean, you had an aid station about every 10 miles. So I just broke it down into, hey, I got to run 10 miles 3 times. And yeah, I enjoyed that it was a full circle. But I'll have to find out how the other ultras are that aren't in the future.
Yeah, so Kyle, you kind of said it earlier with being a training run, and Jeff, kind of a beagle race. But did you guys have any like kind of specific pacing strategy, or was this more of a run by feel kind of day? Because I feel like from front to back, the game plan's always a little bit different.
Yeah, I've been trying out some timed intervals. Like during some training runs, I'll do like 9 minute run, 1 minute walk. I've tried out 4 minute run, 1 minute walk, just trying to keep my heart rate. As I mentioned, I got out of shape a little bit and kind of getting back to it. So my heart rate is a little bit higher than where I would like it. So really just trying to keep that under control. But, that was the first 50K that I've done it. And for me personally, I don't think it's going to work because I don't like to in the middle of a race, I can get really sucked into like looking at my watch, seeing where my heart rate's at. And, I think I prefer it by feel, like just keep my watch on the course map. I'm not looking down at it every couple of minutes and just kind of going by feel, for when to eat, when to kind of take a walk break. So I'm glad that I tried it out and kind of learned that, it's probably not something that's going to work great for me moving forward.
I was experimenting a bunch with nutrition and pacing goal. I don't know. I just said fuck it, we ball, and I just bolted for like the first half marathon, which obviously is not a very good strategy to do for a 50K. But did it anyway. But I tried a minimalist approach to nutrition, such as I'm a hardcore ambassador of Simply Good supplements. And so I tried just glycofuel, endoflow, and hydration, and it surprisingly worked out very well. No cramps, no gut issues, no feeling of crashing or bonking out, just mainly sore legs. And so it was, so it was nice to not have to carry so much versus how I used to do ultras. And I will say, yep, Simply Good supplements is my go-to for anything ultra related.
Well, I guess for me, I wasn't training for anything. I was just there to see if I can do it, and thankfully, I did pretty well. I was able to run the whole thing. I was just the first 4 miles, you're warming up everything. You're warming up your body, and I set a pace. I think I was at like 8:30 mile, and somehow I felt good. My heart rate was like 160, I think, and I was able to just carry carry that pace throughout the whole 31 miles. Great one for me to start on, being my first one, because like I said, the 40 feet elevation, it's flat and fast. Like you kind of, great scenery. That was like a lot of things, like I was saying, the animals they seen. I mean, it's like it just gave me more energy. I was like, wow, okay, like let's keep going. I want to see more. And
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
I gotta say I was pretty impressed too. I didn't know if I had it in me, but it makes me want to move on to like you guys said, the farther distances. Definitely just makes me want to see what else is out there and what else I got in the tank.
Yeah, so take me in the race morning. Like how were y'all feeling before you took off? Like what was it like at the starting line?
The starting line was great. As we kind of talked about, a smaller race, being able to just kind of pull up to the race and be, 50 yards away from the start line, not have a long line to get your bib, available restrooms before the race, not having to wait in a long line or deal with any of that. But it was great, and I appreciate, that they did the national anthem and a prayer before. I thought that was great. But everybody was super friendly, just a relaxed vibe before the race, it was good.
Yeah, I'll add on to the relaxed vibe myself, because I've been at either the big ultras or the big Spartans where it's just things are tense. All the way to the start line where it's like you got to be on it and ready because here we go. But for this one, it was you pull up. It was nice and relaxed. You kind of felt like a sense of warmth, the family-friendly environment, and it was cool. So at the start line, I was chill. I was ready to race, and but at the same time, not a single ounce of tension at all. It was real cool.
Yeah, I'll have to agree. I mean, it was very calm, and I was happy of the fact that they did the national anthem and had a prayer too. You gave you the option of holding the little babe or Jesus, and
Yeah.
and yeah, they're just great people. I mean, I mean, this is the finish line, but when I finished, I mean, I got a big old hug. They were so excited. I mean, they definitely catered very well out there. And I mean, there wasn't pressure at the start line. They just wanted everyone to have a good time, stay safe, and enjoy the race.
Oh yeah, the EV Stangle finish line hug is the best.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a big, warming hug. I was like, that was. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, so obviously, we got a lot of good vibes. So, and we've kind of alluded to this a bit too, but obviously, let's just jump right into this course. So, from what I know myself, and we've talked about it a little bit with this course's layout, let's talk about those early miles. Those first 10 miles, because that's where you're on the mountain bike trail, you open up a little bit, but you've got a lot of turns and you're deep into that single track. How'd those first 10 miles go down?
Honestly, I felt like the first 10 miles went by pretty quickly. Probably in large part to, since I've been down here, I've been doing a lot of my training runs out on the road and so forth. It's kind of a bit of effort to get to the trails where I'm at just for regular training runs. So when I do get the opportunity to get out there, it really seems to kind of fly by. So those first 10 miles felt good.
I was cruising for the first 10 miles, and it was nice because you're in the woods and you got a single path, and it was nice. There was plenty to look at. So yeah, it went by real quick. But it was very enjoyable. It was definitely a very enjoyable first 10 miles, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. The first 10 miles, I'd have to say it was probably my favorite part of the race. It's just when you're enclosed in the woods like that, it just feels like you're really moving. And yeah, I liked it, being in the woods and not because at the same time I'm in the same, when we're in the city, it feels like a concrete jungle. So being in the woods, it was just like I'm from up north, so it felt very natural. I was very pleased with the first 10, and it was quick too. I mean, it did seem like the fastest part of the race.
Yeah, so I know after that section, that's really where you get to the Powerline Trail, Doe Hammock Trail, Mayaka Island Wilderness Trail, and the Turpentine Trail. So, like, how did those miles go? And I guess for reference, that's basically mile 10-ish to 21-ish. How'd those middle miles go down?
For me, the middle miles, I always felt good, but I definitely slowed down there. Like we were talking about earlier, it's kind of thicker grass. It was kind of high in some spots. The whole trail, sometimes you'd have to just kind of be on like the very edge of it where there was kind of a beaten down path. I guess that's a benefit of being towards the back. The others kind of lead the way for you. But there were some tough sections where, the grass was kind of high and, it was, definitely took more effort to kind of move through it than the single track.
Yeah, that's when I slowed down too. And definitely picking up my feet more and being able to navigate around the tall grass. And there were some parts that had some pretty rough terrain and very soft sands too. So it wore down. It definitely it would definitely wear down on your hip flexors a lot. So whatever speed or pace you had in the first 10, oh yeah, that's when it really got tested from mile 10 to 20, in my opinion.
Yeah. Once you got out of those woods and it opened up, it was a little more daunting. You can see how far you had to go. So it was like, oh crap. Now we're not just bobbing and weaving. We can see how far we actually are having to go. So it slowed me down at the same time too. And right when you got out of the woods, you were on that fire road. So I mean, the impact on your feet definitely. You were reminded that you just ran 10 miles.
Yeah, how many aid stations have you seen at this point?
That would have been, there was one water station in the trails, and that probably was at like mile 4.5 or 5, and then the aid station at mile 10, and yeah, I think there was another one probably at mile 14.
Yeah, I think the one at mile 14, I think it was the race directors for long haul. They were set up out there.
Oh yeah, Andy and Amy, they were out there.
Yeah, I didn't know their names, but they were out there and they were great to they were in the middle, of the thick of it. So it was kind of nice to see them get some food and 5 more miles of the kind of tall grass stuff.
Yeah, that one I kind of just breezed by, and then like 3 miles down the road, I was like, I probably should have grabbed something.
After Andy and Amy's aid station, obviously now you're on like that home stretch home. You've got less than 10 miles or so. I think that's like the Stockade Trail. You're back on Mayaka Island Wilderness Trail, and then you're back onto, it looked like more mountain bike trails. So how did those final miles play out?
Honestly, I felt it got easier. I'd say the sandy parts weren't that bad. And probably towards the ends, like where you got to mile 26 to the 50K mark, was more firm terrain, so it was much easier to kind of run on. But of course, your legs, your hip flexors are tired and they're screaming at you, and you kind of need to fight against it. But it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, see, from mile 20 to 26, I think that's when my mind was starting to get a little worried about, like I said, the markings. The markings were great, but I was worried that, I was gonna make the mistake. But luckily, I was on course, and I'm gonna have to figure that out with the watch. But from once I got to mile 26 in that aid station, I got a little hydration, a little more, and then he's like, well, this next 5 miles is awesome. And once he said that, I was like, sweet, like, thank you for the reassurance. Let's go.
Yeah, no, those last miles, I think I kind of always get in my head around the halfway point, but once I get past that and, I kind of stopped doing the intervals at that point and just going by feel. So, it went a lot better. And, I was kind of more focused on, it kind of started getting really windy, there at the end and some rain starting to come down. So, I was just trying to beat that to the best I could.
Ooh, and it got cold too towards the end.
It did get cold. Luckily, though, from where I had done that training run out there, I saw how exposed some of the sessions were, and I'm kind of an overpacker. So, I had like a packable vest with me, the Houdini packed up, some gloves. So I was prepared, but it did get cold out there.
Yeah, I think I got lucky before that heavy wind came in, because it started getting pretty windy out there.
Yeah.
But the weather was perfect that day. I mean, you had overcast. You didn't have, I mean, because that Florida sun, it could beat you up if it's exposed. But I mean, it was overcast for most of the morning and going into the afternoon. And even the light rain, I mean, it could have been a little colder, but to me it seemed perfect, just enough to kind of keep you a little misted and cooled off and not. I mean, I think it helped with me not to overheat. I mean,
Yeah, there was not a single ounce of temperature related issues, or at least for me. I stayed cool the entire time, and it was nice.
that was something I was a little worried about the morning before, because I mean it had just started getting pretty cold. You know, we had a cold front coming in, so I was like, oh crap, it's gonna be raining and it's gonna be cold. Like this might be a horrible, horrible weather day, but luckily it didn't turn out that way.
It was perfect.
I
I think
agree.
the nasty cold front that was projected by the weather people or whatever, ended up coming overnight. So we got lucky that we didn't freeze to death during the race.
You guys really did beat a lot of the cold weather and that nasty weather. So I guess, I kind of take me into that finish line. You've mentioned it before with the hugs, but how was it to crossing that finish line?
I thought it was fun and just gave Evie a big hug, and at the same time me in the post ultra delirious state going, oh shit, where are the pierogies and food, because I am starving. Oh my god. Especially the pierogies.
Oh, they're
My
so
god,
good.
they were on point.
So good.
Yeah, the food was great, and as you guys talked about Evie's hug, just how welcoming they are. It was great, and I didn't intake any caffeine during the race, so I was just thinking like I need to get to a gas station and get a Celsius, and then I'll be good to go.
Oh man, how do you do it with no caffeine? That's impressive.
You guys are smart. I did it without caffeine, and I'm stupid.
I'm probably a caffeine aholic. I mean, I drink too much, but
Well, you know what? I'm sorry. I take that back. I actually had French press coffee the before the race, so I actually had a decent amount of caffeine, and it was good coffee.
that does sound good.
It's good.
The finish line for me though, I mean, I was definitely the last mile, I was definitely ready for it. I was like, because in your mind, you're like, I'm running 31 miles, so you're already set at 31 miles. You're not running any further. So as you get closer, you're like, all right, where's that 31st mile at? I passed it. And as soon as I stopped, then I felt everything. I was like, okay, my knees are like, this is where I lock up and I'm, walking slow. But yeah, then, got blessed with a nice hug, and there was food and a bathroom very close by. And yeah, I mean, it was about 15, 20 more minutes until there was other people passing, and we were rewarded with our medals and plaques, and it was just a great feeling.
Yeah, I mean, looking back on it too, I mean, all of y'all ran pretty well, even if you're doing a training run, because it seemed like it was PRs for everybody.
Yeah, I think it was, and just kind of comparing it, that was kind of my first one without a lot of elevation gain in it. Some of the other 50Ks I've done, you get pushing like 6, 7,000 feet. So, yeah, it was nice. When you're struggling and you don't have elevation, it's a little bit easier to keep going. When you've got some flat terrain ahead of you.
Yeah, I was definitely pleased with my time. Like I said, it was my first one, so I didn't know how I was gonna do. I was just hoping that I could. My goal was just to run the whole thing. Like I just wanted to run the whole thing. I didn't want to walk or anything. And thankfully I was able to, and somehow I ended up being the first one across the finish line. So I couldn't be more happy with how everything went.
I was very happy with my time. Mainly there just to have fun, see everybody, and experiments with supplements, which worked out pretty well. And but the most important, I mean, so yeah, I was very happy with my time. I was good with it. Most important thing is I had a blast. So I definitely would do it again.
Oh yeah, I'd be happy to race that race again.
Yeah, because I mean, this just might be like the course. If you're hunting that 50K PR, I mean, a lot of my research was just stalking on Strava and looking at people's routes and seeing kind of the zigzags and the names of trails and guessing off of that. So I guess, like, here's the thing. Like, what advice would you give to someone thinking about running this race next year?
Yeah, I guess if you do want a PR on a 50K, this is the course.
Also, if you want to try out a 50K, but you don't want to do something that's incredibly intimidating, this would be a good one to do.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think going along with that, if, for someone that's trying it out for the first time, just the environment, would make you feel comfortable, not super intimidating or anything like that. But if someone is going for, a PR, it would be a great course for that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the way it seems like across the board. So, I mean, I guess, kind of going off of that, we can kind of start to close it out with, what was the good, the bad, and the ugly out there for the Coo-wah-Chobee 50K?
I'd say the good, just, I'm always looking to experience new trails. So just getting that experience, it's close to home. So I'll definitely be going back out there to get some miles. The bad for me, which turned out to be a good, but just kind of working on that as we talked about that, pacing, it didn't work out very well for me with the intervals. So, yeah, but all in all, great race directors, great race. Everyone was super friendly. So it was a good experience.
I definitely think there was, in my opinion, there wasn't a bad or ugly. It was all good. Great course, great race directors. That I trust. Course was well laid out. Didn't get lost at all. And trust me, I get lost in races. This one, no, I didn't feel like I was getting lost at all. All in all, it was just a great time.
Yeah, I'd have to say the good was definitely just the environment. I mean, the race directors, they were prepared at the aid stations. They had our drop bags if you had them, because that would be bad if, they didn't have your drop bags, but they were there. And the bad, I don't know if I have a bad. I could say the ugly was personally my ankle just getting worn out, but that has nothing to do with the race itself. Just, it's just a part of the race. Luckily, Florida's really flat. I mean, depending on how you look at it, some people like the elevation, but it just adds that extra factor of toughness to it, I guess.
Even with a flat course, because with a flat course, you're just using that same muscle group the entire time. Whereas when you
Yeah,
have
that is very
elevation,
true.
you're switching it up. You're power hiking, you're climbing, you're going down, then you're going flat. With all flat, I think it's just as hard as the mountains.
Yeah, I'm kind of finding that too. And when I first started training down here, because I was used to that, kind of like run, power hike, get some assistance downhill. So when I was training here, I got injured, pretty quickly because I was just pounding the same spots on, sidewalks and the concrete.
Yeah, that's very true. I feel like that's why I didn't necessarily, with my ankle, I didn't necessarily roll it or anything. I think it was just that, the first time I went that distance on my legs, and my ankle kind of took it was the weak spot. So hopefully, I mean, the way my brain thinks is that now that we figured out that weak spot, my body's kind of been like, all right, well, let's make it a little bit stronger now. So hopefully next time it won't happen.
Yeah, I mean, that'll happen when you go that far, that fast for the first time. Yeah, I mean, something's going to happen.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it could. I'm happy with it. As if that's all that happened, then we're doing okay.
Yeah, no, you're doing good. So keep it up.
So it was all good. I was happy, and
Yeah.
I'll be there again if they're holding it next year. I'll absolutely be there.
I don't know. I might come out and run it next year.
I definitely think
that'd
it's
be
a
great.
nice hidden gem in Venice, Florida to try out. I think I've done like a Facebook post about it, but I stand by those words. It's definitely a hidden gem. It's our own version of fun. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just seeing, yeah, it is fun. I mean, what else are we gonna do? I don't know. I'd rather be physically exerting myself than not, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's you might as well see what you're made of versus just kind of withering away on a couch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're just big balls of energy at the end of the day. Might as well get it out.
Fueled by caffeine and a lot of it.
Oh man, a lot of it. And, yeah, sleep is important too. I mean,
Which, yeah, you're right. Sleep is pretty important.
But time is the most
probably
valuable
don't
human
get enough.
resource.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and what you do with it.
Go to bed soon.
Wow.
Which, yeah, it's getting past my bedtime.
Yeah. Speaking of sleep.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciated it.
No, thank you so much for inviting us. It's really
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely. It's pretty surreal. This is my first podcast, so I definitely appreciate it and look forward to hearing it.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Have a good
Yeah,
night.
I don't know if we hang up or you do, but yeah, everyone have a good night. It was good talking with you guys.
Word.
Yep.
Take care. Good night, guys.
Oh, yeah.
I
to the
got you.
Keys, Lake to Ocean, Miami, out to the East Coast, Daytona, Jacksonville, Pioneer Trail, on a single trail.
And there we have it for episode 118 of the Florida Trail Runners podcast. Stories from the Coo-wah-Chobee 50K. It's always great to hear about these races and what it's actually like out there from the runners from all over the course. And this one definitely didn't disappoint. So hey, with that, until next time, happy trails.
Beach sunrises, beach sunsets, sugar sand all around. From the Swanee River to the St. John's, from Crystal River and the Rainbow Springs, Coo-wah-Chobee and manatees and the Everglades and Lake Okeechobee. The humidity is sticky, but I love this game. From the Panhandle down to the Keys, running free where the world feels at ease. Florida trails take me higher, through the pines and palmetto. The National Scenic Trail, muddy shoes, sun on my face. Every mile is a wild embrace. Florida trails don't let me go. Through the hammock, the marsh and the glow. Florida Trail Run.